Video 2 for the day. I'm gonna try to rest today and work on some things today, but gonna stay in my little bubble, today. I feel good in my bubble. You know, it came to me last night when I was working through some stuff. I was like, dang, I see now why God has positioned circumstances and different trials and tribulations for me to really see the rawness of the truth. Where He is truthfully the only parent, however you wanna slice it, your own confidant, you know what I mean? In different ways, given the systematic ways. I know I have changed, without a doubt. I've changed, I see things differently, I feel things differently, I know things differently, but at the same slice of that, when you get positioned in a circumstance, what is the alternative? To not change and take your life? I know that's what they were banking on. I'm sorry for that. You know what I mean? But you either grow and evolve, or you allow the situation to consume you. That's the options that they have so graciously given us in the systematic ways. You either allow the system and the conditionings of the world to consume you, or you take control of your life and you heal through it. You walk through the motions of it. You gain wisdom. You gain humility. You gain humbleness through it. Whatever your trials and tribulations look like, everybody's trials and tribulations are different. And then you go into the world and you start changing your ways, Be the example. Be the example. So many people talk about things, but nobody's being the example of it. It's crazy to me. How can you say something but not stand by it and be the example? It's so easy to point the fingers and say, it's this person, they've changed. They're not this way anymore. They did this and they did that. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's not the truth. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize different things within yourself. I know I've changed 100%. I still carry the heart that I've always had, though. That's what's so bonkers to me. I struggle with it because it's like, I'm still the same way. In different ways. And yet everything around my life is just so different. It's bizarre to me. I just don't even know how to explain it, y'all. I really don't. I don't at all. People you've known your whole life, too. It's crazy. Crazy, this little world we live in right now. All I can say is, but God. I give grace to God all day, every day, because I know the magnitude of the circumstances and of the purpose and how big it is that I'm just merely being used. You know what I mean? Everybody gets upset with me, but at the end of the day, the reality is it's God. And it's one of those things. And all I can do is just, pray for those people. Pray for my little oppressions and ops and whoever, and keep on my beating path to the best of my abilities. But, I just have to say this. I am so beyond proud of my son. My son and I both. And how we've been able to overcome every obstacle, every illusion, every man-made trap, and still come out on the other side of it with a strong bond outside of this world that we can communicate with each other with just our eyes. Just our eyes. and we can have a back-ended conversation, but still, like, we can have a conversation out loud, but understand the true conversation happening behind it because of the circumstances we've been placed in. The listening ears and all my bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, he says certain things to me and I pick up on the real truth of what he's actually saying to me. I pick up on that now. Even when we have our off days and there's like manipulated tactics and stuff like that. And again, he's a teenager, so there's that factor of it too. But I'm so proud of him, and I'm proud of myself, you know. And you have to get to a place in your life where you give kudos to yourself, even when the world doesn't want to give kudos to you. You have to lift yourself up. You see that flickering light? The AC didn't come on. You have to show yourself grace, show yourself mercy, show yourself kindness, empathy, forgiveness, you know? That's a big portion of me too, is forgiving myself. That's something I'm working on right now. Because of the choices I've made in my life, it's landed me where I'm at today because of the choices I've made with putting people ahead of me or above me. You know, allowing my heart to dictate all of my moves and my choices, and it put me in a predicament that I'm in today. But see, on the flip side of that coin, if I had not made those decisions, made those choices, I wouldn't have walked through everything that I've walked through, and that I've gained so much through the trials and tribulations that are walking me into my destined purpose. You know, nobody has control of other people's destinies. You know, that's the thing too with destiny swapping. I wanted to talk about that. Like, that's freaking crazy to me. I struggle with that too. I understand there's people out there that do such things in reference to destiny swapping, and you know, it's crazy. For entertainment purposes only. That we live in a world where people bestow such things to swap destinies, but it's like everybody's destiny is so beautiful. Why would you want to take somebody else's destiny instead of walk on your own? When you find yourself on the side of the fence, when you're worried about other people's destiny, you're worried about other people's abundance, other people's future, you're taking away your energy from your abundance, your destiny, and your future. See, we have to get away from a world that is so consumed by worrying about the 5 people standing next to you, and just worry about yourself. Worry about yourself, your self-purpose, what you stand on, your morals, your values, your integrity, your faith. You know, I know my faith is not going to be aligned with everyone, just like their faith is not going to be aligned with me. But I'm also not going to be on the side of the fence judging people because their faith doesn't align with me, like people so graciously judge me. I'm not going to do that. You know, whatever your faith looks like for you is for you. Whatever my faith path looks like for me is for me. The brass grass of it is what your relationship with God individually looks like. That's what I solely worry about. It's not how I look on the outside, faith-wise, Christian-wise. Like, am I a true Christian or this and that? Like, I don't care what the world perceives of me when it comes to my faith path, my spirituality, my walk. Like, that means nothing to me. What matters to me is my soul connection with God, my relationship with God, with the divine, the source, the most high. Like, that is my numero uno. Like, I was sitting outside just a little bit ago. Nothing but confirmations. With just birds, squirrels, all kinds of stuff, you know? I just say this, you know, it's Saturday. Got to check off a handy dandy check mark on my list, on my calendar. You know? Go into your day, be happy for all the things that you have in front of you. I always wake up and say, God, thank you for another day. Thank you for another day. If I didn't have my son, I wouldn't be here. Straight up. Straight up, no chaser. That's what I told my mom. I said, I don't understand why they create HELL here on Earth when they can just take you out. But then, of course, that's the problematic things when it comes to destiny swapping. You have to take your own life. And that's just not something I'm going to do. Sorry, guys. Love you. Have a great day.